What is up, everyone? Today we're going to talk about the topic of brain rot. This is going to be a long video. This is not going to be entertainment based. This is going to be an educational video where we're going to talk about the topic of brain rot. We're going to talk about how to measure how affected you are. We're going to talk about the science behind it, why it's so difficult to get out of. And finally, we're going to give some tips on how to get out of it, like the full broken down path, so that you don't have to think about it and you don't have to, figure it out for yourself. It's already been figured out for you. All you need to do is watch this video from start to finish attentively, without going to the comment section, without reading something else, without going on your phone, and giving it your best of attention. This video is not going to be entertaining. I'm not going to put flashy edits and cut my audio or anything like that. If I burp or fart or whatever, it's going to be in the video. So don't expect to be entertained. And if you're here for entertainment, then just click off the video. And if you're not here to be entertained and you're here to really do some serious work and change your psychology, change your behavior, change the way you act, change the way you think, then welcome. This is genuinely the place where you want to be. And let's get started. So, first things first, right? Let's cut the BS. If you've clicked on this video, right, that means that the title has resonated with you. That means that you've read the title, you've seen the thumbnail, and you're like, wow, I struggle with this problem. Now, how much you struggle with it, I don't know. But the problem is that you do struggle with it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have clicked on this video. So, given that that is the case, that means I'm going to break down something to you, right? I'm going to tell you that you are an addict. You are an addict in every sense of the word. And that might surprise you, because when you think of the word addict, right, you might think of the guys that do heroin or cocaine or whatever, the drug addicts, right? You don't really associate social media, cheap dopamine, or brain rot with being an addict. But once I explain to you the science of how these things works, and how deep it runs, and why you act in a certain way, we're going to talk about certain behaviors that you're going to hear. You're going to be like, wow, I thought I was the only one that does that. You're going to realize that everyone does it, and everyone does it for a specific reason. It's because we've been psychologically hacked in order to act that way. And I'm also going to talk about how you can get out of it, right? Trust me, if you attentively watch this video, I promise you will learn something new, and you will genuinely change your life. You will fix this issue forever. So I really want you to watch attentively. Okay, first things first, how can we actually quantify how brain rotted you are? I really don't like that term, but we're going to use it anyway. How can we quantify the degree to which this has affected your brain? Right, I've written here a bunch of stuff, right? We're going to go through it one by one, and I'm going to explain what I mean and how it affects that thing. And after each one, right, ask yourself, genuinely ask yourself, within this department, how much am I affected? That's the goal of this section. You're going to use this to assess yourself now, and then you're also going to use this to assess yourself maybe 2 to 3 weeks later, after you watch this video, after you implement the stuff that is in this video, and you're going to realize the difference between now and the difference 2 to 3 weeks later. That's the goal of this. This is always going to be a way to judge how brain rotted you are. So, first things first, look at your screen time. Open your app right now. I don't know how it works on Android, but on iPhone, you can see your screen time. You can see how many hours every single day you spend on your phone. This is probably the most cliche, the best way to figure out how brain rotted you are. Look at your screen time and look at how much you go on social media, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, or whatever. How much you, how many hours do you spend? I'd say ideally you want to spend about up to an hour and a half on your phone a day. Not on social media, like I'm saying total use. I don't think you should be spending more than an hour and a half on your phone. There are some exceptions where you use your phone as like navigation if you're driving or anything like that. But really, what do you need to spend more than an hour and a half on your phone for? If you're spending like 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, bro, I've seen people with like 9 hours. Do you know how I don't want to swear, but do you know how sad that is? 9 hours of your day on the phone. That is so bad. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second point is, what is your ability to stay focused, right? Or people call it the flow state. The way I've broken this down is in two things. So one is, maybe three. What is your ability to stay in the zone? Stay in the zone of focused work. Stay in the zone of focusing on this one thing. The second thing is, like, what is the rate of random thoughts that come in when you're focused? Some people, right, they are so locked in to the point where they don't get these like random autistic thoughts that come to their head. Other people, especially people that haven't really worked on this thing, even if they sit down to focus and even if they enter flow state, because they're so used to stimulation, they will get random thoughts very often that come in, right? And the third thing, which is related to this thing, what is your ability to push away these thoughts? Now, obviously, if you get a lot of thoughts, then you need to have a higher ability to push them away. But again, people that have been doing this for a while, even if they get a random thoughts, their ability to push it away or to acknowledge it and just let it pass is much stronger than that of someone who has very little focus or is very brain rotted. Sometimes, let me just like give an example to kind of bring this in. Let's just say you sit down to do some work. You start, maybe you're 20 minutes in, and then you remember you need to do something. I don't know, you need to clean the dish that you've left in the dishwasher, or you need to wash your clothes, or you need to send that email. How much can you resist that urge during that block of work that you've assigned for yourself? Okay, second thing is emotional and cognitive depth of presence in day-to-day life, right? That can just basically be translated to presence. How present are you in the moment in which you're sat? How much are you locked in emotionally and physically and mentally in the actual situation that you're in? How many people do you see in front of you? They're sat, like they're physically sat in front of you, but their mind is just completely somewhere else. How many people do you find difficult? They find it really difficult to just sit down and just be present in the moment that they're in. They can't help but just wander off. Their mind just wanders off always into some other place. They can never sit still and just be present in the day-to-day moment, right? That can come, mentally. That can come emotionally as well. Some people are they're so zoned out that they're just numb. Their awareness, like their social awareness, emotional awareness, is just depleted to zero. They have an inability to be aware in any way possible. Again, another way of saying this is, how much do you live on autopilot? That's just basically another way of saying the same thing. Another thing, how much desire do you have to be stimulated by randomness? What that means is, especially you'll see this when you start quitting social media, you'll find yourself like an addict, like a crackhead. Like you'll have this urge to just get stimulated, mentally stimulated by the same effect that an Instagram feed will give you. And you'll literally start fidgeting. You're like, I want to see something, but you don't know what you want to see. That's the kind of like crackhead feeling that I'm talking about. The more you have that feeling, obviously that means the more affected you are. The more you're used to being stimulated by those kind of feeds. And we're going to talk later on in the later sections about how to deal with those things and the reality of the fact that you are going to deal with those things. Quitting is not easy. You're going to face basically all the crap that you've neglected over the years of social media, over the years of taking the easy path, over the years of cheap dopamine. That has left an effect. And that effect is a reality. You cannot escape it. When you try and quit this thing, I'm going to tell you now, you're going to go through tough parts. It's not going to be easy. It's not a case of just deleting social media and boom, that's it. I wish it was that case, but it's not. That's why we're sat here and we're doing this video, right? Fourth thing, ability to endure resistance or do hard work. This is a massive one. You'll find people, and I know this topic is about brain rot, but the reason this is so intertwined with discipline is because when you train your brain on easy, cheap dopamine, the reality is doing anything that is difficult becomes so much more difficult, right? To get yourself to do something that you know you need to do, like going to the gym, like sending an email or recording a piece of content, doing your homework, going to work. I don't know how old you are, okay? I don't know what level at which we're talking here. Getting yourself to do these difficult things is so much more difficult if your brain is used to such a high level of cheap dopamine. And the more heavy it is on your heart, the more heavy it is on your soul to do simple tasks, the more affected you are by this brain rot thing, right? And the easier it is to get yourself to do difficult things, then the less affected you are. And I've broken this down again. So this applies before and during. Before, can you get yourself to do something difficult, like before you've done it? Can you get over the hurdle to start? And then the second point is, once you started, can you get over the hurdle of sticking it out till you've done what you said you're going to do? Are you basically going to prevent yourself from quitting? What's that now? Fifth? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sixth one, lack of conforming to societal trends. I wasn't really sure whether to put this in, but I guess this is related to brain rot, especially the current meaning and term of brain rot. You'll find that a lot of people that are affected with social media, and especially the younger generation, they all conform to the same trend that social media is pushing out. And you might think that I don't think what other people think because, oh, I follow this guy or I follow these type of people, and we think differently from how society thinks. But the reality is, it's not about, how do I say this? It's not about you being different to mainstream society. It's about you being dragged to an opinion that you haven't even thought about for yourself. You'll find that a lot of people that struggle with brain rot, you'll find that they're easily brainwashable. They follow a certain niche of creators, and these niches of creators will they will brainwash them into a specific type of thinking. For example, you have the people that are leftists. They follow a certain type of ideologies. You have people that are right-wing, people that follow, for example, all the gurus, people that follow 9-to-5 people that follow make money online people. Everyone has their own niche of people that they follow. But how much are you able to resist the brainwashing of the people that you follow? How much do you readily accept what people say? How much critical thinking do you have when you hear something, even my words? Just because I'm saying this stuff, just because I speak in a way where I'm very convinced of what I'm saying, does not make what I'm saying true. You still have to have the cognitive ability to judge what I'm saying and really ask yourself, is this actually true? I'm telling you it's true. But just because I say it, I'm just some random guy on the internet. Just because I said it doesn't mean it is true. Also, this really annoys me, to be honest. Like, people that get affected by useless social media trends, like ways of dressing, specific words. You'll see people doing that stupid dance that has now gone viral. It's so pathetic. It's so childish, in my opinion. And this usually you'll find in the older generation. I think anyone who's like 19 or older, you don't really find this. But if you're 15, 16 and you're copying like some stupid saying that is, it's not something that a respectable person would say. Like, ask yourself, before you say something, is this someone who respects themselves, someone who's respectable, would they say these kind of things? If not, then just, why are you copying some random stupid stuff that you've seen online? Anyways, sorry, I don't want to flip a neck. I don't want to go on a tangent. Last thing, not least, ambition and drive. This is kind of links to ability to endure a resistance. But this is more on a macro level. You'll find people that are hooked into the cheap dopamine cycle. You'll find them contained within that cycle, and they're sufficient within that cycle. They don't have like high ambitions, high goals in life in general. You'll find them talking about like stupid topics. I'm telling you now, go find, if you're at school, for example, go find people that you think are like the dweebiest, most brain-rotty, bottom G people in the world here, and look at the type of things they talk about. Go to work. If you're working, go to work and find these exact same types of people. You'll find them talking about like the most useless topics in the world, like gaming, shows, songs, artists, like nothing that actually benefits. And I've seen this in front of my own eyes. Like, sometimes at work, at my old job, I'll hear people talking about some stuff, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, that is just the stupidest topic. You'll find them that like the maximum height of their life is like other celebrities, and like you'll just find them, they have no drive, they have no ambition. That's like the most exciting parts of their lives. So ask yourself, what are the topics that you talk about when you go talk with your friends? What is your circle? Who are your closest people? What do you talk about? What do you gather together about? Is it just wasting time? Is it just talking crap? Is it just talking about politics and gossip and whatever? So, yeah, man, ask yourself all these questions. Okay, so now we're getting to the juicy part. I need to first of all, let me take a sip of my coffee. Okay, so for this section, we're going to talk about the science of the effect that bad habits have on your dopamine baseline. Right? I really want you to think about the dopamine baseline. That is the most important thing in this whole topic. What is dopamine? Very quickly, dopamine is a hormone that is responsible for two things. One is the anticipation of reward, and the second is the reward of an action or something. Usually, bad habits will give you an unnatural amount of dopamine that is way too high, and the ascend of that dopamine and the crash of that dopamine is going to be really steep. Whereas, on the other hand, healthy habits will give you less amount of dopamine, but the increase to that dopamine will be steadier and it will be more natural. And the crashes will not be, you won't really have crashes of dopamine because the incline is steady, and the amount of dopamine that you can get from an action that you've worked hard for is going to be a natural amount of dopamine. And this is the main point of this whole section, sorry, I can't speak. Bad habits will give the brain an unnatural amount of dopamine, right? And this level of dopamine, would only be achievable through something that is monumental. Think of the biggest thing a human can achieve. The amount of dopamine that you would get from that is the same amount of dopamine that you'd get from opening Instagram. It's the same amount of dopamine that you get from watching porn, for example, right? And when you consistently do these bad habits, it will create a baseline that is extremely high. And a baseline of dopamine, your normal bottom baseline of dopamine, you will be really, really high. And the only way to upkeep that baseline of dopamine is to do the same caliber of bad habits over and over again. Because doing normal human things will not give you the same amount of dopamine as watching porn, for example. So there is no way to upkeep the same amount of dopamine that watching porn will with doing something that is healthy, like exercise or eating healthily. And what will happen is, in order to avoid a crash, and in order to, basically what will happen is, because your usage of dopamine is so high, your body will naturally begin to crave the dopamine. And the only way to give your body the same amount of dopamine, at least, or more, is to do more of the same thing. And you basically become exactly like a drug addict. You're just waiting for the next dose, right? Because you're going to have a really, really high baseline of dopamine. And again, like I said, the only thing that will upkeep that same baseline of dopamine is the same actions that give you the same amount of dopamine. Think of a drug addict. If you're taking, I don't know, like, I'm not a heroin addict, so I don't know what unit of measurement they use, but if you're taking like 1 needle of heroin or something, the only way you can upkeep the high that you get from heroin is to take the same amount of heroin or more heroin to increase the dosage. And the thing is, the novelty of that specific dose will wear off, and eventually over time you're going to want more and more. And what will happen is that very drug addict, if you deprive them of that heroin, they're going to become very fidgety, agitated. They're going to really want that next spike of dopamine, that next spike of that high, that whatever that cocaine or heroin gives them. And social media, though you might not realize it, is exactly the same thing. Porn is exactly the same thing. Why is it so difficult to quit porn? It's because of the same reason. Emotionally, you are connected with whatever it is that porn gives you. And porn gives you such an intense feeling. I'm talking about porn because it's one of the most profound examples of this idea that I'm trying to give you. It spikes such an intense emotion inside of you that it becomes it becomes very addicting, and you become wanting that emotion more and more and more again. Porn is never about, horniness or anything like that, or your desire for releasing. Basically, porn is an emotional desire, because it gives you such an intense feeling. It ends up leaving such a big gap, and this is the main point I'm trying to give you. Because you get such an intense high, it leaves behind it such a big gap that it becomes painful when you sit without it. And the only way that gap will be filled is by more of the same thing, which will then leave an even bigger gap. I hope you see the point now, right? This is one point. Another point is, and this is something that will really consolidate the point, which is the brain begins to see healthy habits. Even if today you were like, all right, that's it, I'm going to fix my life, I'm going to delete social media, I'm going to quit all of the bad habits. If you were to start doing healthy habits, maybe yes, you could motivate yourself to push yourself to do 1 day or 2 days worth of healthy days. But there's going to be a point where your brain is so accustomed to the amount of dopamine that you get from bad habits that it's going to see normal actions as bad deals, right? Why would I get, if you were to think of it as these abstract points, why would I do this very difficult thing to get 20 points of dopamine when I can do this really, really easy thing and I can get 1,000 points of dopamine? That's the kind of equation that your brain will start asking. And that's the very reason why normal things will become very difficult with you. You'll end up noticing that a lot of people, that when they are stuck in this cycle of brain rot, of really cheap dopamine, normal things will become so heavy on them. It will become so difficult to make your bed, so difficult to do the work that you need to do. It's so heavy on your chest and heart. And the reason is because you're so accustomed to doing this really easy thing and getting such a high reward that doing this difficult thing and getting a way less reward is just a bad deal in your brain. And your subconscious. So that's why your whole body just fights against you. It's like, why are we even doing this? We can just go do that other thing. So hopefully this kind of now makes sense. Now that you understand the picture, now you understand why it's so difficult to quit. Really think about this. How many times have you quit and you've just felt like an internal craving to just go back? How many times have you said that I want to change my life, but you just cannot get yourself to do this thing? It's because you're so accustomed to a high level of dopamine that it's difficult to do anything. You can't focus, you have no motivation, you have no desire. Your body is accustomed to a high level of dopamine. You're never going to change. You are never going to change. And everything is programmed around. I don't want to be that guy, but it is so true. Bro, I have a software development background. I'm telling you, algorithms are designed in a way to get you hooked. I am telling you, there is so much research that goes into projects, into how to hook the user. There is so much work. You don't believe the amount of work that goes behind some of this stuff. I'm telling you because I've worked in some of these places. There is so much work that goes behind the scenes to get the user hooked. So much. From an algorithmic perspective, from a market research perspective, from an advertising perspective. And you're just a slave of the system. I'm being honest. You're hooked. You have no autonomy over your body. Really think about that. You don't have autonomy over your body. If you want to go do something, you can't. You're hooked. You're addicted. You keep falling back to the same life that you're trying to quit. So I really want you to think about that. Okay, now let's talk about how we're going to change. How long have we been recording for? Not too long. About 30 minutes, 25 minutes, something like that. Okay, let's talk about this section now. This is all right. Let's talk about this section. This is going to be some of the juicy stuff. All right, so I want you to think about this. This is the pinnacle point. Live your life where the dopamine you get is deserved. That's the way I want you to think about it. I want you to live your life. This is a lifestyle perspective. Lifestyle change. We're not quitting social media or doing a dopamine detox for 2 weeks just to re-download the same apps and fall into the same lifestyle that we've just worked so hard to get out of. This is a lifestyle. We want to live life like we did 1,000 years ago, like we did 500 years ago, 100 years ago, where, we had the ability to focus. We had such a high level of emotional intelligence, presence, awareness, right? Trust me, once you quit some of this stuff as well, you're gonna have a lot more confidence and self-esteem and trust within yourself. A lot of the stuff that you struggle with, anxiety, depression, all of that stuff is related to this very topic that we're talking about. You're going to see all of that will improve. So the pinnacle point is to live in your life in a way where you don't really get cheap dopamine. You deserve everything that you get. Everything that you get comes from a healthy habit. So, first things first, right? You, right now, if you're struggling with this, you're not a superhero. You're an addict. So I want you to reframe this whole situation to, I'm going to recover from my addiction. I don't want you to think about this in a way where I'm going to change my life. Because right now you're here. Change my life as a goal is all the way up here. If you start putting a goal that is all the way up here, but the reality of things is that you're down here, you're just going to break yourself. Because you're not ready to fix you're not ready to be at the level of I'm going to fix my life. You're not there yet. You don't have the ability to even quit social media. So you need to approach this thing with, I'm an addict. I know that might hurt your ego. I know some of you are going to hear this and you'll be like, yeah, I know he's talking to the other people, but this doesn't apply to me. No, fam. If you've watched this far, then it applies to you. No joking about this here. It applies to you. Have humility. Okay? This is the only way we're going to get out. So I really don't want you to, I don't want you to think of this, I'm going to white knuckle it through, I'm going to discipline. This is not about discipline. Because if it was about discipline, you would have quit already. But obviously, you're not there yet. You will be there, but right now you're not. So we can't use the approach of discipline and winning like this internal battle or war and willpower. We're not there yet, right? The addict approach, it begins with basically accepting the fact that your brain right now, the thoughts that your brain produce are basically a bit malfunctioned. And instead of trying to like beat your head and trying to like force your way through, you just accept the fact that the thoughts that your brain produce are a bit broken right now, and you're gonna basically deal with some withdrawal effects, right? It's not a weakness to admit that. Like we're playing it smart here, right? Everything that I've written below for this is recovery, right? It's not about like self-improvement or go do this, and just patience. Do you get what I'm saying? Okay. For example, an addict doesn't optimize the morning routine. He gets the substance out and then rebuilds a life. That's exactly what we're going to do here. So obviously that then means that the first phase, it makes sense for it to be a detox, a withdrawal. If you're a heroin addict, first thing you're going to do is stop taking heroin. You get it? So stop doing the things that give you cheap dopamine. Phone. Get rid of your phone, man. See this crackhead phone. Go put it in another room. Don't sleep with your phone in the same room. Don't put your phone next to you when you're working. Put it in another room. Don't put your phone next to you at all. Like when you're working and you have this crackhead desire to pick up your phone because you couldn't figure out the piece of work that you're working on, you don't even want to put yourself in a situation where you have to resist it. Just don't put your phone there in the first place. Distance yourself from your phone. This is not about willpower. This is about playing it smart. Play it smart. Set up your environment in a way to help you win. It's not an ego thing. You have to humble yourself and accept that right now I'm not where I want to be. Because if I was where I want to be, trust me, you wouldn't be watching this video. You wouldn't be this deep into my video. But you are here. So it means that you have to be humble to a certain extent. Okay. Stop putting things into your life that give you cheap dopamine, that emulate reward and hard work, but they really don't do anything. Get rid of your phone. Get rid of every social media. Trust me, bro. I'm telling you, even if you get rid of social media, you're gonna have this crackhead urge to scroll something. I remember when I deleted social media, bro, trust me, I was scrolling LinkedIn. Like, I did not give a crap about what I was reading, but I needed that like feeling of scrolling something and going like this and liking. Bro, I'm telling you, it's really, really bad. You'll see how bad it is. You'll literally be sat down and you'll have this urge you'll open your phone and you'll realize you have nothing on there and you'll just close it. Or you'll open your phone and you'll start looking for an app to just go in because you have like this, you've built up this desire to scroll something and you want to be stimulated. Like, this is normal. That's not failure. Trust me, if you think that's failure, you're never going to get out of that. You have to accept that you're going to go through these situations and that you must overcome that. You must have the humility to accept that that's the standard in which you're going to go through first before you can build on top of that and build the dream life that you want. Right? This is also another thing. I don't really want you to think about deleting your social media or getting rid of your phone as restriction. It's not like the way it felt for me in the beginning, it was like I am spending energy to try and push this thing away from me. It's not about restriction, right? You're basically, what you're doing is you're bringing your baseline of dopamine back down so that 20 points of dopamine now sounds attractive to you instead of your 1,000 points, because you've just removed the 1,000 dopamine option entirely. If I was to say to you originally 20 dopamine points or 1,000 dopamine points, of course you're going to pick 1,000. If I was to say 20 or 50, then they're a bit close. Obviously you're going to pick 50, but the two values are closer. Remove the option of even going down that path entirely. Your willpower right now is weak, and we don't even want to rely on willpower. We want to hack the environment in order to get ourselves to succeed. It's not about proving that you're strong. The goal is to get rid of all of this addiction stuff. So work with yourself here. This stuff will do 80% of the work. I'm telling you, getting rid of your phone, getting rid of social media, getting rid of all of this will do most of the work for you. And I don't want to hear any BS about, how am I going to live my life without social media? I need to communicate with these people. Bro, shut your lips. If you want to communicate with someone, you just communicate with them. Send them a text, call them, see them in person. If the only way you communicate with someone is through reels, then that's... I'm not even going to talk. Anyways, yeah. So, yeah. Restlessness, boredom, low mood, a constant itch to reach for something. These are parts of the withdrawal. They are not failure. You expect those things. And naming it as withdrawal turns it, being aware of the fact that these are the things that you're going to deal with and naming it as withdrawal, it kind of puts the shame away of the situation. Doesn't make you feel like a failure because you realize that these are the parts that you have to go through anyway. Okay. The pain of putting the phone down is the measurement. The stronger the pull, the deeper the dependency. Watch the discomfort shrink over the days. Okay, yes, I remember this. So basically what I was saying there was, when I told you now that you want to basically live a life without social media, live your life without your phone, the amount of pain that you felt, or the difficulty you have in which to detach from your phone, to detach from social media, that shows the level of attachment that you have to those things. Right now, if you tell me you're going to live without social media, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Because I honestly couldn't care less. I'm not attached to it anymore. But when I first began working on this, if you told me you're going to live without social media, it was a big thing to me. It was like it really hurt. It really hurt emotionally. I'm like, what do you mean I'm going to live without social media? It was a big part of my life. And I want you to really be honest with yourself. Like, ask yourself, or just feel, like genuinely just feel it now. The idea of never ever having Instagram ever again. Never being on YouTube on your phone ever again. How does that feel? How scary does that feel? How much discomfort do you have inside of you? It's time to be honest. Phase 2, this is the dead zone. This is the stuff that a lot of the brain rot content online, they don't even talk about this. A lot of the brain rot content is made in a brain rot way, but there's going to be a point where basically, because of so much dopamine, you're going to have experienced a numbness, of emotion. You're basically living like a zombie, where all of your emotions are numbed out, and you're living on autopilot. And once you remove the source of numbing, which is social media, porn, all this cheap dopamine, you will begin finally feeling emotions again. You'll legit have like a flood of emotions that come through. You'll have boredom. You'll have feelings that you've kept dormant for so long that have not been able to come out will finally come out. Bro, I'm telling you, you'll start feeling emotional for like you'll feel like a woman for 2 weeks. I'm telling you. This is the kind of stuff that I've never seen anyone talk about this, right? You're going to feel flat. You're going to feel like this emptiness in life. You're going to feel so bored. You're going to feel like this crackhead itch to do something, to be stimulated. Everything is just going to come out in these 2 weeks. First 2 weeks when you start quitting, especially in the first couple of days, first week once you quit, a lot of this is going to come out. And this is all part of the withdrawal. And this is why I tell you to think of it like a crackhead. Think of yourself as an addict and the fact that you're going through withdrawal. Like I said, once you understand that this is a withdrawal process, it makes it easier to accept. Imagine if you had the perception that I wanted to fix my life, and next thing you know is you start getting emotional, you start getting bored. You're like, you'll get pissed off, like, why do I feel this? And because you start feeling like this, you'll feel that you're broken. And this is why it's so important to think of it as a withdrawal. It's really important. I really want you to understand this. I know I've repeated it a couple of times, but I really want you to understand this. Right? It's going to get to a point where you'll be really bored. You'll have nothing to do. You'll have a desire to be stimulated. And instead of just randomly stimulating yourself with something, bro, sit in your boredom. Get used to being bored. Like, embrace it. I'm telling you, the first 2 weeks to a month is not easy. But if you get through it, trust me, it gets really easy after that. So yeah. Make life more repetitive on purpose. Same routine, same meals, same room. Novelty is the escalation loop's fuel. So sameness is the antidote. The opposite of what an optimize your life video tells you. This is kind of next level. This is once you get past those 2 weeks, that first month. Having a feeling of sameness in your life will kind of take away the decisions of what do I need to do, or close down the door of even thinking about going back to the old stuff that you were doing. And it will basically, this point will basically force your dopamine baseline down. And this is essentially what we want in the first place anyway. And this is a very extreme way to do this. Now, obviously, you may not live in a way where doing this point in its entirety is feasible. If you live with other people, things like that. But do whatever you can from this. Trying to have some sort of stability in your life. Some sort of a plan, some sort of a routine that you follow. It's not like this decked out morning routine. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking just like some simple structure that you have. Some level of sameness that you have within your day. That is not some crackhead action that you do. Phase 3. This is where we start fixing the rewiring. This is once we've pulled out all the bad inputs and we've reached some level of stability in terms of our focus, our brain rot, our crackhead desire to be stimulated. That's kind of gone. This is when we're going to start talking about this stuff. A fried brain physically cannot hold attention or feel excited about goals. We've already talked about this. Someone who's brain rotty is someone who has no ambition, who has no desire, who can't focus. Right? This is why this part comes last. Because if I told you to start, putting goals and fix your life, you would not have been able to do so because you would not have been in a mental position to be able to do that thing. And I would have set you up for failure. Truth be told. That's why I've set up this whole thing in the order that I have. Because you have to understand the reality of where you're coming from. And I'm telling you this in a way where nobody has ever told you this kind of stuff. Nobody will openly tell you you're a crackhead addict. Nobody will ever openly tell you that you have to deal with it from a withdrawal system. Nobody will ever tell you that don't do the mainstream good habits morning routine that everyone talks about. This only comes when you have the mental capacity to even implement these kind of things. I finished my coffee. I was going to take a sip. Right, rebuild your focus on one thing. We don't want to fix 10 things at a time. We want to fix one thing, maybe 2 things at a time. Right? Change your environment so that there's only one thing to focus on. Your environment plays a big role. Again, this goes back to the point where this is not about willpower. I don't want to put myself in an environment where I have to fight to do the thing that I want to do. I'd rather put myself in an environment where it's much easier to do the good habits. That means elimination. Eliminate the bad habits. Eliminate the environment that puts you in a state of trying to resist yourself. I don't want to play the difficult game. I'd rather play the easy way, which is just not even having to play a game of resistance. Change your environment so that you're basically focusing on one thing. Set your intention, right? There's so many things, like even full screening. I want you to really block out. This is a metaphor, I'm speaking metaphorically. Full screen your life into this one thing that you want to focus on. Maybe it's getting back into shape. Maybe it's fixing your finances. Maybe it's fixing your health. I don't know. But the reality is, if you're falling into this rot or dopamine loop, you're probably being slacking somewhere in life. So pick a point, pick an area in life where you want to start focusing on it. This is going to be your training ground to kind of bring yourself back up to speed. Right? Remove any distractions from this goal. Full screen. Imagine you're watching a YouTube video. What is the difference between someone who's full screen the video versus someone who's reading the comments, or someone who even has the comments just there in front of them, or has recommended videos? How distracted are they? How tempted are they to do something else other than watch the video? So I'm speaking metaphorically. Full screen, the thing that you're focusing on. If you're going to do something with a laptop or work or things like that, build work blocks. Put yourself challenge of I'm going to work for 30 minutes, or I'm going to work for an hour, I'm going to work for 90 minutes. Like these building blocks. Start getting excited about, for example, lowering your screen time. Start getting excited by your ability to work a certain block amount of time. Build your way up, right? So say to yourself, for example, I'm going to work 30-minute blocks. Tomorrow I'm going to do 35 minutes, then 40 minutes, then 45 minutes, 50 minutes, 55 minutes, 60 minutes. Next thing you know, you're now able to work 2-hour blocks, 3-hour blocks. These are the things that I want you to work on. I really want you to get excited about this stuff as well. Train for the reach for the phone moment specifically, right? This is the crackhead moment where, for example, you're working on something gets hard, a set at the gym gets hard, the task you're working on your laptop gets hard, and the next thing that you know is that you have this crackhead desire to do something else. Like for me, this used to be chess. I'll be working on my computer, I get a problem that is difficult, okay, pull up chess.com. It's so crackheady, and it's not a phone specific thing. Most people do it with the phone, where they have their phone next to them, which you shouldn't have in the first place. And then something gets difficult, they just pick up their phone. Like, it's so subconscious. You know when you'll realize that you actually have this habit? When you delete the social media apps, and if you still have your phone next to you, which you shouldn't do, but if you do, you'll realize that you have this habit, because without even noticing, you'll pick up your phone once something has gotten difficult. Then you realize you don't have any apps. And then you're like, oh shit, yeah, why did I even pick up my phone in the first place? You'll realize you'll have that habit. So, reach for the phone moment. I'm not really talking about specifically reach for the phone moment. I'm speaking again metaphorically. Think about any other task in life that is difficult. That crackhead desire to escape away from the task by doing something that is easy. Get rid of that. Get rid of the escapism. Fix your ability to be able to really be resilient and relentless in doing the thing that you want to do. Point the reclaimed mind at something. Create anchors through goals. A life with no direction is purposeless, and purposelessness is death before death. Boy, this is such an important point. If you do not have a goal for yourself, then basically you have no destination. Imagine if I just said to you, bro, imagine if you have no goal, it's like walking for the sake of walking. Like, you don't know where you're walking to because you don't have a goal, you don't have a destination, you don't have a point to which you're trying to aim. You're just walking. And that walking will feel so purposeless because it is purposeless. You're legit walking for no purpose. Living a life with no goal is exactly the same thing. If you do not genuinely sit down and create goals for yourself and create anchors for yourself, these goals will anchor you. These will be the things that will excite you. These things will be the things that wake you up in the morning. These things will be the things that drive you to push through pain, to push through discomfort, to push through painful things. If you don't have an anchor for yourself, if you don't have an emotional driver to get up and do anything, then you're not going to get up. You will legit have no purpose in getting up because you have no purpose. Right? I want you to pick something that you want to focus on. Again, this should be linked to this point. Focus on one thing. Pick something that and genuinely get excited about. Like, really, if it's a physical goal, get excited about being wham. Get excited about losing weight. Get excited about getting in shape. Like, I really want you to, like, genuinely become obsessed with this thing. Really get excited about it. And again, I'm going to say this to you. You will find it extremely difficult to get to that point of obsession if you're stuck in this environment where you just get cheap dopamine. You can't. And even if you do, you'll realize that once you get rid of all of these bad habits, the level of obsession that you have with your goals will just increase tenfold. Trust me, you'll only know it once you feed it. And I'm telling you this because I really want this for you. I really want you to experience this, what I'm talking about. I really want you to have that feeling where you wake up in the morning and you genuinely, all you can think about is hitting that goal that you thought about today. That's the kind of goal that I want. I want you to think about the person that you can become. Think about this. I don't know what your name is. Jack, Ahmed, John. Yeah? If your name is John, then listen. Imagine a future John. I want you to imagine a future you. Right? Think about a future you. What does an ideal you look like? I don't know what it is to you. An ideal me is different from what an ideal you in the future looks like. Think about an ideal you. Think about the qualities they would have. Think about, the traits they would have, the mannerisms they would have, the habits they would have, the psychology they would have, the way they speak, the way they dress. Think about the respect they would have for themselves. Think about the self-esteem they would have for themselves. Think about this person. Think about, imagine this 3 years down the line, 2 years down the line, 1 year down the line. I really want to imagine this version of you. And that version of you is possible. Trust me, it's possible. I'm not special. Nobody who's ever achieved anything monumental is special. They've just gone through all this difficult stuff that we've been talking about. Right? I really want you to get excited about this. I genuinely want that for you. And the only way you're going to do that is by going through all of this stuff that we've mentioned, bit by bit, and go through every difficult part that we've talked about. But this is possible. I'm telling you, this is possible. And this is what the high achievers, they get to. They get to a point where they have such a strong goal in their life and they're so excited about it and they're so focused on that one goal that this is what they live for. Trust me, this over social media, crap food, porn, any day of the week. At this point, right, if you've been training your dopamine to a healthy baseline, then your boredom is going to go. Your emotional regularity is going to be a lot more stable. You're not going to have high swings of emotion, right? You're going to be excited by doing actual work. Can you believe that? Previously, doing any sort of work could have been daunting, but now doing work is a reward. It feels exciting. It feels fulfilling. So, yeah, you're gonna have the ability to focus. You're gonna have the ability to do difficult stuff. You're gonna have an ability to, finish hard work, have real conversations. This is basically the whole point of getting dopamine that you deserve. It feels so fulfilling. This is the point that we want to get to. A reality. You're gonna relapse. You will slip, but accounting, having that knowledge in your mind will make it easier, right? The reality is, like we said, you're an addict right now. See all of this phase 3? This is superhero stuff. Oops. This is superhero stuff. But you are not here. Don't try and fix your life from this perspective, because you're not here. You're phase 1. You need to get rid of the drug. You need to get rid of the cocaine, get rid of the heroin, metaphorically speaking. So if someone was an addict, right, and they'd been an addict for 10 to 15 years, is it stupid to say that they are likely to relapse, even if they've decided that they're going to quit? No, it's not unlikely. And the same goes with you. The mistake that you can make is you relapse and you make it like a big catastrophe and you make it a big thing. Don't make it a big thing. Okay, I relapsed. Okay, that's fine. Let's go. We reset again and we start again. The relapse is not a sign of failure. For example, if you right now sit on social media for 5 hours a day, and let's just say after you watch this video, you've set your intention, that's it, I'm going to delete it. And then maybe let's just say after a day, you can't resist the urge and you re-download it. That is still progress. You've made it one day without social media. Then, after you relapse and you've downloaded it and then you've reset the intention, okay, I'm going to fix myself, you deleted it again. Let's just say now you lost 3 days. If after those 3 days you've relapsed again and you download it and you get it back into the same life, is that counted as failure? No, because you've gone from 1 day to now 3 days, to next time maybe a week, to next time maybe a month, to next time after that, there will become a certain point where you'll just not get any desire to download Instagram. But once you get past that point, you're fine. But my point is, you cannot expect to do 5 to 10 years of bad habits, undo 5 to 10 years of bad habits in one night. It's just stupid to expect that. So expect yourself to fail, right? Don't be so hard on yourself. Just get up, dust yourself, set your intention again, and go again. Honestly, that's all it is. Just go again and keep going until it works. Brother, you're not allowed to fail. You're not allowed to quit on yourself. You're not allowed to have bad thoughts. No way. I'm not accepting that for you. It's okay to fall, but you have to just get up. And don't, catastrophize the slip. Doesn't mean that you've failed. You've made progress. And it's okay. So yeah, this is the video. I really hope you've benefited from this. I really hope you take what I say, and you really listen, and you genuinely listen with an open heart, with an open mind, with humility, because I really do believe that a lot of what I've said here will genuinely help you. I hope that I've painted a realistic picture, because at the end of the day, I'm not here to get clicks. I've made a video that is really raw. It's probably boring to watch. I'm going to be honest. I'm not the best of speakers. I'm still learning. And if you've watched this far, I thank you. Honestly, I do thank you. I'm going to have my link in the description if you want to talk to me one-to-one. Let's go there. But honestly, this is all you need. You don't really need any more than this. And I wish you the best of luck. Take care, guys.